Hi, this is the showman, Fable Jake, with the NWA, and you're listening to the WrestleHorror podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WrestleHorror. Greetings, viewers and listeners. Meathook Jim here, the WrestleHorror podcast. With me, as always, I couldn't do the show without him, my co-host, Donnie Hoover. Donnie, we've got quite the interesting guest on tonight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to get into it and find out a little more about this guy.
So with that being said, let me introduce Fable Jake from the National Wrestling Alliance. Jake, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me on. And thanks for putting me over as one of the more interesting guys out there. I like to pride myself on how weird I am. So I think this will be fun.
Weird is what we are.
Yes.
Perfect.
We embrace weirdness. And I've got to say, you're a part of the National Wrestling Alliance. I have been a fan of the NWA since I was 12 years old. And to put it into perspective, I will be turning 57 the day before the Arnold starts. So,
wow.
I love the NWA and you being a part of it. It just made for, I think it's going to make for a great show. So, congratulations on being on the NWA. And, you just started, 3 years ago or so, didn't you?
Yes, sir. That was me. I've been in the business about 3 years. I did just get my start. I'm very blessed to be where I am right now with the NWA. They're putting a lot of trust in a lot of young guys right now, and first of all, Billy Corgan has one of the greatest organizations of all time when it comes to wrestling, and he has taken it upon himself to build it back into the brand that it once was. We come from, legendary names, Dusty Rhodes, Harley Race, Ric Flair, obviously. With those names comes a certain prestige with the NWA. And, I'm just now getting my start with it. I've been a fan just as you have of wrestling my entire life. And I personally am so happy that this is the company that I got started with, because they care about everyone so much. Like I've been to a lot of backstage areas in a lot of big companies, and this place is like none other. Everyone treats you like family. I've not been in any locker room where I've genuinely felt cared about as much as I have in the NWA. So my hat's off to, Billy Corgan and what he's doing with the National Wrestling Alliance. It's the most fun I've ever had in my life, and I'm very happy to be just even the small part that I am in the NWA.
Well, that's one thing about what I like about the NWA, Jake, is the fact that, back to the territories, that was when wrestling meant something. I mean, now I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything now, but, with the national stages and everything, with the huge companies like the WWE and AEW, but, when it was the territories, there was so much going on and so much entertainment going on. I grew up in Florida, so it was Florida Championship Wrestling, which is a part of the NWA, Georgia Championship Wrestling. Plenty of small promotions out there that were all part of the National Wrestling Alliance. And now we're starting to see this resurgence. And this is what's got me excited, because this is what wrestling was all about, the territories. From one to the other, Mid-Atlantic, Florida, Georgia, St. Louis. This is wrestling to me.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I 100% agree. I like studying the way that, I do my body of work works is I'm a storyteller. You know what I mean? That's who Fable Jake is. I think we've come into an era where a lot of guys think that they've got to get over by doing a lot of stuff and cramming in as much stuff as they can in a very short amount of time. And that's not, we used to build giants. Like, they used to call it the land of the giants, not just because they were giant people, like egregiously big people. They were big personalities. It was like, you had your top guys in Georgia and you had your top guys in Florida. And then you have these mega shows where all the territories would come in and it's your guy against my guy. And it's just this fantastic story from start to finish of Titans just going at it. And I agree with you. It's not to say that that's not how it is these days. But I certainly do miss the aspect of, I'll have a championship with one promotion in Georgia and go down to Florida and win that championship. And now all of Florida is going to hate me and Georgia's going to love me. And just the whole, storytelling aspect of the top guys in every promotion just going at it. And it bred a certain type of competition that I think we're missing these days. I think everyone's just trying to do the coolest spot now. They're not trying to be the man. They're not trying to be the big guy.
Trying to get their shit in, pretty much.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
So, I've noticed, I was looking at your one of your pages here, and you've been trained by some pretty good names out there. I mean, well-known names like Jeremiah Plunkett,
Yes,
Thomas Latimer. I've always admired his work. Crimson's another one. I watched Crimson during his time with Impact and TNA, and Gangrel. I mean, you've got a laundry list of great trainers out there.
And you know what? I'm blessed to be trained by every single one of them. I'd never say a bad word about any of those guys. And I've told every one of them, you've taken me in and you've treated me very well, and I'm so grateful. I mean, I would die for any one of those guys. Here, and it's funny. I kind of have a running joke with Jeremiah Plunkett. I call him my sensei because he taught me how to walk. I'd be tripping over my heels and diving headfirst into turnbuckles and falling out of the ring if it wasn't for Jeremiah Plunkett. He's the reason I am. I even got to the place where I am, and he kind of handed me off to Thomas Latimer. Some people know as Bram. Another guy I love with all my heart. I'd absolutely die for him. And Tom has taken what Jeremiah Plunkett gave him as a beginner in me and just kind of turned that and molded that into, not saying that I'm anything special, but he has turned me into such a weapon in the ring that there's an astronomical difference between the man that I was when I stepped in the ring for the first time and the man I am now. And I accredit that all to Jeremiah Plunkett and to Thomas Latimer, to Crimson, to Jax Dane, to Camille, to Crazy Steve. Crazy Steve's had a hand in there. And of course, Dave Gangrel. Right. Gangrel. My time in Miami was great because of him. There's nobody that trains like him that kind of, he's a no bullshit guy. Dave is a no bullshit guy. And if I can, I also want to say congratulations to him. I know he just got married. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but if he hears this, sir, congratulations on your marriage. I hope I get to see you soon.
We'll try to make sure he hears that.
Yeah.
With that laundry list of trainers and help you've had, like I said, it's a who's who. And the fact that you were in the NWA, let's back up a little bit. And who really was your inspiration to get into wrestling?
Oh man. Getting into wrestling, I think the first person that ever like sat me down and showed me wrestling was my brother, my older brother, Cameron. I was never supposed to watch wrestling. I was one of those kids, you know what I mean? My mom and dad, they were, you know, these solid Christian people, and they were like, oh, it's so violent. And, you know, the ladies aren't doing the right thing. Cause you know, this is the early 2000s, back before the women's revolution, which I mean, well merited and everything. I'm glad we've taken it in the direction that we have. But, yeah, my brother would have to sneak me in and let me watch SmackDown, and I'd get to see The Rock and Stone Cold and Undertaker and everybody, and Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels. And, if I had to, I'm thankful for that. Sooner or later, my brother got older. He kind of got out of it, but you know, I fell in love with it, and I'd have to sneak and watch it. And I'd have to go over to my best friend Brian's house and watch WrestleMania, because he'd get it every year, and that'd be where I'd go over and watch SmackDown. Until finally, I had to sit my parents down and go, look, I'm 13 years old. I'm a man. I know what I'm doing. Let me watch wrestling, please. And you know, I was lucky enough. My parents finally went, okay, we'll let you watch your wrestling. But as far as like getting me into the business and like my actual interest into the business, if it had to be a performer, it was the Undertaker. You know, I still herald the Undertaker as the greatest story ever told in wrestling.
Absolutely.
There's no greater story. You know, a man's career that spans over 30 years is just, it is phenomenal. And there's a reason that he's named the Phenom. You know what I mean? He is, you know, the pinnacle of what it is to be the man in wrestling, both behind the curtain and in front of it. And it was that brand of storytelling that really drew me in to actually wrestling. And if I could be 1/1000th of the storyteller that the Undertaker was, I mean, I could retire happy.
I got to tell you this, Jake. I was fortunate enough to be sitting down watching Survivor Series.
Yeah.
In, I believe it was 92, when he made his debut. If I watched him come onto the scene, and he is just phenomenal over the years. Matter of fact, my wife, who's kind of ridden my coattails on the wrestling scene, but she gets it now and she appreciates it. She ended up buying that 5-hour DVD that they put out for the Undertaker, The Last Ride. So no, I agree with you. He's a phenomenal performer. I'm sorry that he retired, but I'm glad that he did, because he's had an amazing career and influenced a lot of people.
Oh yeah. I mean, nobody deserved to ride off into the sunset the way the Undertaker did, like the Undertaker. Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of guys that have done it, but you know, in this business, you want to go out on your shield. You know, Stone Cold did it for The Rock. Several other people have done it. To walk away with a win like the Undertaker did, I think was the absolute perfect way for him to go, for him to retire.
Now, with that being said, since I am an NWA guy and a WCW guy mostly,
right,
I've got to say that, love him or hate him, Ric Flair.
Ooh, that's he's a hot button topic right now, but you gotta give credit to the man for, and Undertaker will say this, and I'll say it as well. Greatest of all time, Ric Flair. He is the greatest of all time. He is the GOAT.
Yep. Nobody
could move crowds. Nobody could sell tickets. Nobody could put asses in seats. Nobody could get the crowd to respond like the Nature Boy. They can't do it. And there are people, on the scene today they're getting there. They're trying to climb into that position of superstardom, and what will they get there or not? I don't know. I don't know that. Nobody knows that. But the man that has done it is Ric Flair, and what a guy. You know what I mean? He is. I did have the distinct honor of actually meeting Rick in St. Louis when we did. I believe it was NWA 73. It was the same weekend we did Empower. And I'm telling you, I'm back then I was doing a lot of ring crew stuff for NWA. And I was sitting ringside when Rick came out, and Rick, I'm not kidding. He was, this far away from me. And, I got to sit in the back and drink a beer with him. It was it's hands down one of the coolest moments of my life. Despite, what's going on right now with Rick, obviously I you can have you can think one way or the other about it. I don't really want to comment on that, but as far as his work as a worker and as an entertainer, he's the greatest of all time. And if that's what the Undertaker says, that's what I say. So
well, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, I was fortunate enough to meet Rick a couple of years ago at a convention.
Mm-hmm.
And if I look up to my left, I see a photo with his autograph, and it says 16-time. Woo!
Yeah.
But there's one wrestler that kind of edges him out just a little bit in my book.
What's that? And who'd that be?
Sting.
Yeah. I actually, he was an inspiration for a set of moves that I do usually in my matches. I do the Stinger Splash. So, yeah, I admire him, especially the longevity of his career, especially what he's doing right now with AEW. I really admire guys that are at the top, that are in that leadership level, that understand what they're there for, and it's to pass the torch on. And if you stick around that long and have that kind of courage to go out there and put other people over and just give other people the opportunity that you were given at your age, given it at a younger age. I mean, there's nothing more commendable than that. It's giving back to the business. And I truly, truly hope that one day I can do the same thing.
Well, that is definitely admirable. But I've been taking up all your time here, and I'm not letting Donnie talk. So I'm going to let Donnie talk now.
Oh, no, you're good, man. You know me. I like to sit and listen, mouth closed, ears open. That's what I always say. But one thing I want to touch on is going back to what you're saying about Jeremiah teaching you about your footing and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff I want to, like put out there. So, to maybe help some of the up and comers or people that is in training, because I do know a few myself that have clumsy feet and stumble and, everything. So, right. And it just goes to show how important that is, of having your footing in the ring and stuff. So what kind of, practices or drills or whatever did he show you to help you get your footing straight and to help you with that imbalance and stuff?
I can tell you for a fact, we would have side shuffle drills where all we would do for 10, 20, 30 minutes is, you put your hands over your head and you shuffle all the way around the ring. Mm-hmm. He'd have you change positions and go back and forth. We would also have corner to corner drill where we would have, he would have us roll, time and time again, always standing up, getting back in that fighting stance. There are a lot of spot drills that he would have us do, simple spots, nothing crazy. It's just footwork. And I can recall so many times where he would never stop us in the middle of a match, because he always had this mentality that you can work, like you need to be able to work. Like if something happens, you got to be able to get on top of it. Like
just work through it.
Absolutely. Even at a beginning stage. And there would be times where, we'd get done with our matches, or we would get done with tying up and, just chain wrestling for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And a big note he'd always give us is listen to the ring. If you're just chaining, it should be any kind of snap bump or anything you take, or any kind of sweep bump that you're taking. That's the sound you need to hear. If you're hearing a lot of thunderous sounds while you're chaining, you're not doing it right. That means your feet are all over the place. Mm-hmm. A lot that was a lot. And then Tom would even take it even a step further. And he would have us doing, having us do grape squishers and everything before we would tie up. He would blow us up before we would do our chaining or anything, just to be like, do you feel how heavy your legs are? Do you feel how tired you are? When your feet start getting all over the place, you start leaning on people, you start moving in unsafe directions. And when you start doing that, you're going to hurt somebody, or you're going to injure someone or yourself. And you got to be able to get your Bambi legs out from underneath you. You got to stand there and stand firm.
There you go. That's great advice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd say with our WrestleFit fitness program, the arms up and shuffle all the way around the ring, we add that in there. That's one of the drills we do, and then we run corners, like go corner to corner. So we don't have them do the rolls or nothing, because that's for more of like wrestling training. This is just fat people like me trying to lose weight, basically. For now,
I'm right there with you. I gotta get my tire off too.
All right. So, but yeah, that's some awesome advice for the people out there, guys and gals out there, that are struggling with their footing and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So, since you've been wrestling, you said you've only been on the scene for about 3 years. Who's been some of your best and toughest opponents that you've liked so far? Who's your favorite to work with?
Number one, hands down, Toby Farley. Toby Farley is a guy. I have some names in the NWA that I've had the pleasure of working with, and I would love to work with again. They're maybe getting some more time under my belt and working with those names more in an equal circumstance, if you get what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Getting more time with those bigger names in a more equal playing field, maybe that'll change. But right now, and God love him, he's my best friend in professional wrestling. Toby Farley, we've taken each other to hell and back. We've had some of our best matches together. He's kind of my traveling buddy, and he's my brother. And it's kind of sad because here recently I haven't been able to hang out with him very much. And I'd love to just hang out in the locker room with him again. But circumstances have changed with NWA, and I'm a lot more busy now outside of everything else. But yeah, Toby Farley is definitely like my repeat go-to. I was very lucky with the NWA. I've had an opportunity to wrestle with Chris Adonis. That was a dream come true, seeing a guy that, was a monster when I was growing up as a kid. And, I got to step in the ring with him. That was really cool. There is a hidden gem out there, and I really wish I could find it. While we were at NWA 73 doing power tapings, I had the opportunity to wrestle the Pope.
Nice.
We had an awesome match. It was so much fun. The crowd was so into it, but I think the footage of it got lost, or that maybe they didn't have time for it in the season. And you'll actually see there was we just did a Christmas special about a month or two ago with the NWA where I was featured, and Pope gave me a shout out, and he was talking about that hidden gem. That's probably been the coolest match I've had in the NWA so far. I hope I get to see that. I hope me and him get to see that one day, because I think if I stick around with NWA for a little while and he sticks around with NWA for a little while, it'll be cool in 2-3 years to look back and, be like, hey, that was my, that was the first guy. That was the first major guy I tied up with. That was really cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can get that dug up somewhere. Bring it from the ashes.
I got to see it. I don't know if they didn't have the commentary team set or something went wrong with one of the cameras, but I've got people backstage were videotaping it, and I've got pieces of it, and I've shown it to him, and he's like, "Man, I wish we could have seen that whole thing, Daddy." And I was like, I know. I love Pope to death. He's one of the coolest guys in the locker room. He's locker room leader. But it's just, things happen for a reason. I'm sure me and him will tie up sooner or later down the road. So
he's definitely very entertaining. I watched him during his time on Impact and everything, and I always enjoyed his matches or his commentary when he did commentary. So that's cool for you, man. I mean, to wrestle somebody like him is, a feather in your cap.
I know it's sometimes it's unreal. You know what I mean? Especially as young in the business as I am.
Right. Absolutely. And you're still fresh. You've got a long way to go. Mm-hmm. So with that, speaking of that, how did the gimmick of Fable Jake come to be?
That's a really cool question. So let me take you back a little bit. Before I was a professional wrestler, I was a United States Marine.
Okay.
I was
service.
Absolutely. Yep. It was a pleasure to serve with the men and women that I served with, and I loved every second of it. Well, I don't want to tell any lies. I didn't love every second of it. It's the Marine Corps. We have a saying in the Marine Corps. It's called "Embrace the suck." So there were days where it would rain, and I'd have higher ups come out and say, "Oh, I wish it would rain harder." And I'm like, "I wish it didn't. I'm sitting in a puddle right now." I've spent many a days sleeping in sand and frozen to the ground when I wake up in the morning, and all kinds of stuff. But while I was in the Marine Corps, and I was also married. My ex-wife wanted we wanted to spend more time together. So we wanted to get into acting together. And that's something I've never really pursued, but I've always been interested in. And we both tried out for a community college's, community theaters tryouts, or I guess auditions for Bram Stoker's Dracula. Okay. And I still remember this day stepping out on that stage with the monologue they gave me to try out with, or to audition with, and doing this horrible Transylvanian accent, trying to be this big bad vampire dude. And I think I got the best advice I've ever gotten for being a character on stage from the first director I had, Eric Kildow. He said, "Just be yourself. Just show us who Dracula would look like if he looked like you." And I said, "Okay." But fast forward a couple of years, I come home one night, and I do have to give credit to my ex-wife for getting into wrestling, because it was her. I will give her this credit all day long until the end of time. She was sitting at the table one day, and I had just come home from work, and she was drinking a glass of wine, and I walked in, and she goes, "Hey, I need to tell you something." And I go, "Okay, what is it?" She goes, "I think I know what I want to do for the rest of my life." And I'm sitting there, I'm like, "Oh man, don't tell me you want to be like a stripper," or like, I'm like, shit, I'm about to hear some bad stuff. She goes, "I think I want to be a professional wrestler." And right then and there I go, "Let's do it. I'll do it with you. Let's get it done." Because she had not known that since I was a little kid, I was a professional wrestling fan. So we go and we train with TNT, and we get into wrestling and everything. So I gotta credit that to her. But back to Fable Jake, because of that background in acting, and I've always been fascinated by like the circus and entertainers and street performers, and that has evolved into what Fable Jake is. Fable Jake is a storyteller. He's a traveling storyteller. He's an entertainer. He's a guy that maybe has sleazy means of getting where he needs to be, but he always gets what he wants, and he always entertains while he gets there. It's kind of an amalgamation of Bill the Butcher. Gangs of New York, Bill the Butcher.
I remember.
Kind of Jack the Ripper-ish mixed with The Greatest Showman, mixed with David Blaine, mixed with all myriads of performers and carnival people. That's kind of where the idea came from, and it's kind of evolved. And I'm really excited because the NWA has actually we're kind of going through it with my character. We're going through a transitional phase to where I'm going to have a name change. But it's going to look a lot like what Fable Jake looks like. So
nice.
I'm looking at one of your pictures here, actually several of your pictures here.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got that tailcoat with the top hat.
Yep.
And you just kind of look not entirely evil, but slightly evil.
That's it. And that's the thing is like, that's something that I think is kind of missing in wrestling is there's so many cool heels. Right. There's so many guys that are just like, oh, I'm a bad boy, like that. I'm not here for the actual heat. I'm here for the cool heat, like that guy's a bad guy. Oh, he cheated. Like I'm gonna cheer for the guy because he cheated. There is a fundamental thing of why are you a bad guy? Like evil guys they don't think they're bad guys. That's the thing about being a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're acting on your own impulses and putting things into your own control because by any means necessary, you're going to survive. And usually there's an inciting incident that puts you in that kind of space.
Mm-hmm. You believe as a heel that everything you're doing is just and the right thing.
Exactly. Because you're just looking out for number one. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You've been screwed over one too many times, and you've gotta figure yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
By any means necessary, basically. But that's the thing is there's a lot of guys that play bad guy on TV. And they don't truly understand what bad guy is, because bad guy is not, like it's not, tying people to railroad tracks and, that's not what it is. It's the guy that, pulls the tights because he's just not good enough to beat the good guy. But if he pulls the tights, then it is. I'm really excited for this development with my character because that's kind of what's going to be the crux of what he is as a person, because he's going to show people what true evil actually looks like.
Cool. So we're looking forward to seeing it. And I don't think we've mentioned it yet, but because of Fable Jake's demeanor and how successful he has become, we've are actually bringing him to the Arnold with us in March. And I would say, I don't know if we told him yet, but he's actually going to be going against our Arnold champion, Superman Onyx. So, which is exciting for us because Superman Onyx is, he's been on a hot streak and everybody we put in front of him, he's taking them down. So we had to go think outside the box and bring in a ringer, so to speak, to, try to see if he can hang with him or not. It's going to be exciting to see.
Oh, nothing but respect for Superman Onyx, and he's got his gig with the kids and
Mm-hmm.
helping people get into shape, and that's really commendable and everything. But I am a man that will do things to get things done, so I'm I do look forward to taking the New Ohio Wrestling Championship with me on the road to other places and showing it off.
There you go.
It'll be a great inaugural championship for Fable Jake.
I've got to say, I much love to Onyx, but even the mighty must fall at some point in time.
Everybody's got a weak point in their armor,
right? And I mean, are you the man to do it? Are you the man to take that Arnold Sports Vessel Championship away from Onyx?
It's funny. You say, are you the man to do this and everything? You make it seem as if it's some sort of character, or do I feel like I'm the hero to take it away from him? I think you need to focus more on that word take. I am going to take it from him, not necessarily in a characteristic fashion. It's mine. It's rightfully going to come to me.
Did 2020 take its toll on your fitness? Well, body slam the pandemic and get back in shape with WrestleFit. This innovative program combines all the fitness regimens you'll need to reach your goals. The WrestleFit workout will bring strength training, cardio, and the world of professional wrestling together in a fun, new, and exciting way. Have yourself a blast working out with dumbbells, kettlebells, slam balls, ropes, tires, and an 18-foot full-size wrestling ring. The WrestleFit workout isn't just for pro wrestlers. The WrestleFit workout is for everybody. At the Now Training Center, you can pursue your fitness goals and learn how to train like a professional wrestler without all the bumps, bruises, and slams with the WrestleFit workout. Go to www.newohiowrestling.com/training for more information, or stop by the Now Training Center at 625 Eastgate Parkway, Blacklick, Ohio, 43004, Unit 6137.
Right. So it's going to be exciting to see. It's definitely one I'm looking forward to.
Me too, and I'm looking forward to announcing the match, much less watching it. It's that's exciting. It's I can't wait to see this. But Donnie, and Jake, let's steer the conversation a little bit over to horror. I mean, because this is WrestleHorror, and we love to talk wrestling, but we also like to talk a little about horror. And before we got on the air, you said you're kind of a mainstream horror guy. So speaking mainstream horror, what are some of your favorite horror movies that are in the mainstream?
I'm a fan of very, very big characters, obviously. I'm a huge Jason Voorhees fan. I've loved everything about how he is as a character. It's like slow moving, methodical characters. You know what I mean? It's always a trope for me, because everybody's like, oh, how can you not get away from the trudging guy? It's like, that's the story. It's like, he outsmarted you. He doesn't have to outrun you. You know what I mean? He caught you. He caught you because of your own sins and your own inability to acknowledge your own weaknesses. That's how he catches you, and that's what makes him compelling. I'm a huge Pennywise fan. I love Pennywise. I love the idea of taking someone's fear and feasting on it. I love the idea of exploiting somebody's deepest, darkest point of their soul and using that against them to make yourself stronger. And that, I can attribute that kind of to Fable Jake. Everybody's got this idea that they've got to be this pristine, cool, cold, collected guy in front of all of these fans. I'm not that guy. I am bad. Like, I'm a bad. I won't try to fool you into thinking I'm some sort of good person, but I'm here to show you that all other people are also not good people. And that's what kind of draws me a lot in towards Pennywise.
I've got to say, you have completely endeared yourself to the new Ohio wrestling promoter.
Right. Pretty much. Yeah, named everything sitting behind me.
Yeah.
Look behind him, you see Jason,
Camp Crystal Lake. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pennywise.
Oh yeah.
Donnie is a huge Jason Voorhees fan.
Oh yeah.
As a matter of fact, he's actually been to Camp Crystal Lake.
Yep.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we went last summer, me and my wife.
And he got to meet the very first Jason, Ari Lehman, as well as Adrian King.
Yep.
And they got to recreate the canoe scene from the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
We were on the beach, though. I was hoping we'd be in the water. But we did it on the beach, but it was raining, so it kind of played into the whole theme because, the first Friday 13th was raining most of the time anyway. So our whole tour for the whole day, it rained. So it was pretty awesome.
That's so cool. That's awesome. Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love every minute of that.
Yeah, it was definitely a bucket list moment. And I kind of, like I said, I don't fanboy or mark out to too many things, but that was one of the things I did. And my wife was just getting a kiss. She was like, I would just look at your face. She's like, she's not a big horror buff like I am, but she was like, it was definitely cool to be there. She said, but just the looks on your face and the facial expressions you were making, she was like, I was cracking up. I was like, I was fanboying right there. I was on the beach, man.
That's the kind of thing. Yeah, that's it. You're there. You're doing it. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I'm the same way. I'm not starstruck a lot, but there are things that I think if I did see them, I couldn't help myself.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was it for me. That's what got me.
That's so cool though. That is so cool.
Oh yeah.
So when you mentioned Jason, I could see the twinkle in Donnie's eye from here.
Oh yeah, that's why I was just like,
Yeah.
Actually, Ari and Adrian, that's just their signatures on that license plate from the tour we took. So yeah, it was awesome seeing them. And then we did when we got our autographs, stood in line and all that. She had a machete and she reenacted like she was cutting my head off, like she did Mrs. Voorhees. So she took the machete on my neck, and then I was like the most horrible acting job ever. And I was just like, It's like,
I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure you did great.
Yeah, I got the video. I'll play it for you when I see you. It's not great. My wife even was like, "Dude, that was awful."
Oh my goodness!
I was like,
I'm sure you did fine. It'll be a hoot to see that when I come in.
I was like, man, I was standing beside Adrian King getting my head chopped off. What was I supposed to do? Like, it ain't like I was, I was like excited all over. I was like,
right.
So in that same vein of horror and thing, do you enjoy going to haunted attractions during the Halloween season?
I do. I do. I don't think I enjoy it the same way that other people do. The biggest thing is and this is, I'm glad you asked me this because I'm a huge, huge advocate for mental health, especially in veterans. I think a lot of guys deal with stuff on a mental level that they don't feel comfortable sharing with other people. Seeing the things that you see as a veteran, even in my limited experience overseas, it's there's a certain sense of real evil and the evil that you experience through the screen. Both are very valid forms of evil. They're ideas formed by man, and one is compelling, where the other one is life-changing. Right. I enjoy going to see those things because it's great to put myself in a sense of fantastical danger, because it's cool to see what my brain, it's cool to think about the things that I'm thinking about while I'm going through these haunted corn mazes or these haunted houses or these these haunted hay rides and everything. I absolutely love it and I love seeing extreme forms of realism. I'm also, I don't know if I mentioned this. I'm an actor and a director I have a degree in acting and directing. So I'm a huge art fan. So the more fundamental you can create that fear from in those attractions, the more I'm a huge fan of it. And it's so funny because when I go through with all my friends, they're all screaming and everything. And I'm just like, wow, this is so cool. Like it's funny that they see that, but no, like I said, I experience it. I experience it for the true art form that it is. And I appreciate it for the true art form that it is. So I'm not necessarily scared by it because there are physical, real evils that I have experienced that still scare me to this day. And it's almost therapeutic, honestly, to put yourself in that scary situation and be able to battle it out in your brain and say, I appreciate this, I experienced this, but I'm here and I'm okay enough to understand that I will get through this and be okay on the other end of it.
Gotcha. Okay. And I appreciate that. And your take on this whole thing just really endears me even more because Donnie and I are actually both professional haunted house actors.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is like, so you'll understand this. The more you can level to the actual human experience and pull out that primal fear from people,
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's the good stuff. You wish you could bottle it and sell it. You'd be a billionaire.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it's getting genuine, true reactions out of humans. I mean, you could be an actor, a director, a professional wrestler, a professional haunted house actor, just anybody that elicits that true emotion out of people, and you can see it and you can feel it and you're there. I mean, going back to Ric Flair, I think he had a radar in his head. I think the big superstars of today have radars in their head that can just sense that energy in wherever you are, and just draw it all the way in and feed off of it. And I think especially speaking to two actors, I think you guys understand this, that if you could bottle that up and have it with you forever, you'd never have a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
I agree 100%. And, that's part of the reason why we started the podcast WrestleHorror, because there are so many similarities between wrestling and haunted house acting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're there to elicit a response. You're telling a story. You're entertaining and you're performing. And, if you go to a convention, if you go to a horror convention, you're going to find pro wrestlers.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's like they are kind of intertwined a little bit, depending on how you look at it. And even Donnie and myself have been working on a concept to train haunted house actors in what we call the WrestleHorror concept, which is taking some of pro wrestling, some of the showmanship of pro wrestling, and putting it into working in a haunted house to elicit more of a reaction from people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, mainly like making a horror scene more violent,
right,
but safely, doing it safely.
Right.
And then, because like I said, a lot of haunted houses is just, people jumping out or something, coming at you. But,
exactly.
if you walk into a room and you just see chaos where a big giant, murdering suicidal maniac is throwing his victim all over the room and there's like blood all over the wall, just something different that would, I think that would really shock some people.
Oh yeah. And I mean, and you kind of hit the nail right on the head. And that's the same thing with acting. It's the same thing with professional wrestling. You get those guys that go out there that are cookie cutter, they go out and they phone it in and they say, oh, well, I'm doing the wrestling. I'm doing the acting. I jumped out at people. Why do people not enjoy it? It's like, cause you didn't make it real. You did. I looked at you and I saw a man in a mask trying to scare me. And that doesn't scare me like that. I saw you may have jumped me, you may have startled me, but that's it. It's just like telling a cheap joke. It's just like, doing a triple backflip frog splash. Looks pretty. Next time you do it, I'm going to know that you can do it, and I'm going to wait for it. And then you're going to do it again and again and again. And sooner or later, it's just not going to mean anything anymore.
Yep.
All about the storytelling, and it's making it compelling.
Exactly. Absolutely. 100%.
And that's why I appreciate pro wrestlers, because some of them get out there and bust their ass to give you that great story. And it's not all about spots. I mean, spots are great in their place, but the overall story is more about what I'm concerned about. I want a compelling story. There have been some stories out there that have just fallen flat. And in a prime example of a story that I followed a long time was when Sting went silent for over a year before Starrcade 97. That was an amazing story to me with the NWO and everything. That was compelling.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just, and that this is thinking about like the big networks, the big 3-letter companies. That's another thing that I think has been tossed to the wayside, mostly because, a lot of people, and I don't really think this is a good excuse for it, but people are like, oh, well, attention spans are shorter and people want payoffs faster. And it's like, that's because they've been conditioned to be that way.
Right. Now.
Yeah. It's like, if I want to know what the end of this feud is right now. I mean, you see it on, you've got Netflix and Hulu and everything. And you've got a whole season and you can sit down and binge it. It's like, oh, well, old school, week to week storytelling doesn't work anymore. And I'm like, do you see you can look at Star Wars right now. You can look at the Star Wars franchise and understand what's going on right now. Week to week storytelling works. The problem is you got to make every week interesting. And you can do that. It's easy to do that. It's just, there's 40 writers that work, 40 writers and 100 people underneath all of those writers that work on that story to make it more compelling every single week. There's only 52 weeks in a year. If you can't tell me you can't make your character do a different thing 52 times, then you're in the wrong business. You don't get it. Yeah, it's your character. And some of that is, trying to be somebody that you're not, but at the same time, you can find a real part to anybody. I've actually got this approach in acting, and this has helped because I've been nominated for three awards on stage all 3 years that I was going through college.
Nice.
Yeah, the Kennedy Center. I think it's the KCACTF. I can't remember what all the letters stand for, but it's the KCACTF Irene Ryan acting nomination. And I have this approach to acting where I think of masks, right? And so many people look at masks as, I'm going to play a character, so I'm going to go find that character's mask and put it on my face. And I think that's wrong. That's not the right way to look at it. What you want to do is you want that character to come find you and put your mask on. You want that character to live in you and look like you and talk like you. And it's them. It almost becomes a point to where it's unimaginable that you're anything other than that character. It's like, you think of like Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is always Captain Jack Sparrow. No matter what movie he's in, it's always Jack Sparrow. With wrestling, Mark Calloway, it may be Mark Calloway, but anytime you step outside of your house, Mark, you are the Undertaker. Nobody's ever going to talk to you as anybody other than the dead man. Anybody casually. It's just that's when you make that character wear the mask that you wear every day, they become you. And I think you can do that with anything. I think that's just part of being a performer.
I agree with you. And that actually, I train haunted house actors as well, and that's one of the things I impress upon them. You've got to be able to do this without any makeup, without any mask. You need to make that character yours just as you are. And I impress that upon people. And I've got a team of actors that work with me, and I impress that upon them. Make it your, don't rely on the makeup and the costume. Be that character no matter what.
Exactly.
And I drill that into them, that this is how you got to. I've got several characters. I could drop into a character in a heartbeat, and you're going to see a complete change in myself, even though you see me as I am. But when I drop into that character, my face is going to change based on that character without any makeup. And that's something that I think, I'm not going to say it's a lost art, but people need to concentrate on it more.
Yeah. Yeah. There's people kind of depend on physical things. And that's kind of, when I went through the program that I did at Belmont University, it was kind of a way to strip you away of that and stop thinking of things as like, oh, well, if I have this on, this makes me this person. Like if I have, for Fable Jake, if I've got my top hat on, I'm Fable Jake. It's like, no, he's alive in me. It's when I decide to put the top hat on that I'm allowing Fable Jake to take over.
Right.
But you have to be that person. Ric Flair is Ric Flair. I will tell you right now, personally knowing him and seeing him behind the curtain, he's that way 100% of the time.
Oh, I know.
A lot of the guys that you see on TV, they act the same way when they go behind the curtain. It's crazy, but I mean, it's also real. You know, I mean, for all intents and purposes, what you see is kind of what you get.
Right. They become their own characters, and
right.
It's the life. It's the business, regardless if you're acting or you're wrestling. It just kind of happens. I mean, it evolves, and
exactly.
A character today is going to be different from your character 5 years from now.
Absolutely.
But they're the same character.
They've grown.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Donnie, I think it's time to ask Jake the question.
All right. Yeah, we can go ahead and lay it on him. I think this will be an interesting answer. All right. We have a question we asked every guest we have on. There's no right or wrong answer. We just like to get inside the minds of our guests and see if they're as twisted and demented as we are. So that question is, you are the main serial killer in your own horror film. What is your go-to kill?
My go-to kill. I'm a big fan of, I think it would have to be super personal. I'm a big fan of revealing people for who they are. So I think maybe it would be, honestly, it's almost like death by humiliation. Like that's any way that I could put somebody in a position where their own vices kill them. So if it was, an alcoholic, I would poison them. You know what I mean? Slowly poison them, because they could have stopped at any time. And I would sit and I would watch as they're like, oh man, I've been getting sick. It's because it's too easy. It's too easy to go in and stab somebody. It's too easy to go in and shoot somebody. It's too easy to, slash and hack and everything. And this is me just being in the serial killer mentality. I want to see what the fucked up part of you. I want to see that to kill you. I want to see you die over time from that. And I'm not talking about long spans of time. I'm talking about Monday you were feeling great. Friday they're putting you in the ground. I want to see. So if I had to pick it, it would be death by self humiliation in that aspect.
Wow. I mean, that has got to be one of the most unique ways that we've heard. And we're on episode, what are we up to, Donnie?
Like 32, something like that.
133.
Yeah, something like that.
This is episode 50.
Mm-hmm.
And that by far is the most unique way. And we've never had a duplicate answer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This answer kind of supersedes all those others because your mindset is very evil.
It is. It is. Like I said, I'm not a guy. I don't like pretending like I'm a, good and bad aren't real. There's that you're going to do stuff that people like. You're going to do stuff that people don't like. And I'm out there to take the mask off the good guys.
Right on.
That's me.
Absolutely great answer.
Oh yeah.
So tell everybody how they can find out more about Fable Jake, all your social media, the NWA, any way they can find out more about you or see you. What's the who, what, when, where, and why on that?
So obviously, everybody, I would love for you to go to Fight TV and subscribe to the National Wrestling Alliance. I think it's some of the best wrestling out there. I think it's some of the most compelling characters out there. I think it's what's missing in professional wrestling right now. If anything else, you're supporting a group of guys and gals we're a family, and we're here for you guys. We're absolutely here 100% for the fans. We love all of you. We love it when you guys love us. We love it when you guys hate us. We love it when you're loud and rowdy and everything. So above and beyond anything that I do personally, please go to Fight TV and subscribe to the National Wrestling Alliance. This Saturday in Oak Grove, Kentucky, Tried and True Pro Wrestling is having the distinct honor of housing the National Wrestling Alliance. We will be having our pay-per-view of Power Trip. That's POWERRRTRIP, Power Trip. If you're in the local area, please come out and see it. I don't know if there's still tickets because last time we were in Oak Grove, we sold out immediately. So if there are still tickets, please buy it. If you can't buy it, go to Fight TV and get the pay-per-view. I promise you a certain Carney-esque person might be on there. That's a little teaser. You guys might get a taste of the new character on there if you guys are interested in that. But yes, go on Fight TV and look at that. Look at that pay-per-view, and obviously the Crockett Cup coming up. I couldn't put the National Wrestling Alliance over any more than that. I go follow them on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Support us. That we have a TikTok now that we're building every day. Me personally, you can find me on Facebook at Fable Jake, FABLE space JAKE. And you'll see updates from time to time there. If you want to look for me on Instagram, this is a little spoiler alert. You can look up Magic Jake Duvall. That's MAGIC JAKE DUVALL at all that stuff. And you'll see, my journey as a professional wrestler. Please go if you're interested in wrestling or training to be a wrestler and you are in the Tennessee area. It's a wonderful thing. FXE Wrestling has now opened a school that is partnering with Tom Latimer, Jerry Lynn, and a myriad of other people that have many, many years in the wrestling business. And it's a very, very great place. Look up FXE Wrestling on Instagram, on Facebook, schedule an interview. And I promise you're going to be floored by the facility. It's a top of the line $1 million facility. It is absolutely wonderful. It's where I train. So you'll see me there. I'll come put you in a headlock. It'll be fun. We'll all have fun. But yeah, that's about it. That's the showman.
Oh, so Donnie, any final words?
No, I think we covered all. Got a lot of great information, and looking forward to see him at the Arnold and seeing what he can do.
Yeah, I am definitely looking forward to seeing Fable Jake at the Arnold and seeing if he can do what he says he can do and take that belt from Onyx.
Yeah, it's going to be one to watch for sure.
Oh yeah, it'll be a fun fight, I hope.
The Arnold's coming up March 4th through the 6th. You'll be able to see Fable Jake, other NWA stars, and a lot of NOW stars. It's going to be a great show. Make sure you come out. The tickets are reasonable. They're $20 a day, I think.
Yeah, that's for the festival. It doesn't cost anything to watch the wrestling. If you buy a Arnold Sports Festival Expo tickets, then the wrestling's is included.
Absolutely. And
we're also doing like the WrestleFit trainings. I never mentioned that. We're doing WrestleFit for an hour each day. We're also doing where we partner with the Ohio Pro Wrestling Academy. We're doing 2-hour sessions every day of some pro wrestling training. So if there's people out there that's considering becoming a pro wrestler, they can come check those out and watch and kind of see what a training session is all about. And we got all kind of fun things planned for the weekend.
Yeah, and on Friday and Saturday each day we'll be doing 2 full wrestling shows.
Mm-hmm.
On Sunday we will be doing 1 full wrestling show.
Yep.
So there's going to be a lot of pro wrestling going on. A lot of talent out there. Come out and support us. Come out and see Fable Jake take on Onyx. Come out and see the other stars. Watch the WrestleFit classes. If you're interested in pro wrestling, the OPWA will be there for you. It's going to be a phenomenal weekend. I am Meathook Jim, along with Donnie Hoover, our special guest, Fable Jake. We are looking forward to seeing him and everybody else at the Arnold, and we will catch you on the next episode.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media outlets. Facebook.com/WrestleHorror, Instagram @WrestleHorror, Twitter @WrestleHorror, on YouTube at the WrestleHorror channel. And you can also find us on our website, www.WrestleHorror.com.